All right, welcome back to The Sweat, everybody, presented by DraftKings. I'm Emerson Latzia. Geoff Ulrich has returned because we're going to talk a little bit about the Wells Fargo Championship odds just released for this week over on the DK Sportsbook. But real quick, Jon Rahm taking home the victory. Wire to wire, I believe third golfer this year that has at least led or co-led in all 4 rounds of a victory. What'd you learn, either about Jon Rahm or someone else in the field? I wish Reed was here because Tony Finau ended up actually battling back a little bit after some poor putting performances Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, Team Tony Finau just reeling people in for future events. You know, he's going to go up to 20-1 next to it. Everyone's going to be like, oh, Tony Finau. He's great. He's actually, yeah, he is in this field. He's actually plus 2,500. But
yeah.
Jon Rahm needed that. I mean, he really did. It wasn't like he wasn't playing that bad. He was really struggling to score. Like his putter just had stayed cold for like well over a month. You know, didn't really get in contention at the Masters or anything like that. And he really just needed like a little bit of a confidence boost and just say, okay, I'm like, you know, the top 3 player in the world here. I am so far head and shoulders above the field that I need to just prove it to myself and just get a confidence. That's exactly what he did. So I think only good things coming from Jon Rahm. We've got 2, major championships coming up, the PGA and the US Open, with tougher setups that are really going to favor Jon Rahm. So it's perfect timing for him, really, going into like the big major season where I think Jon Rahm has a real chance to add to his major total. Nothing surprising. It would have been more surprising if he didn't win. He was like a plus 350 favorite. So sucks for us who were trying to bet long shots, but good for Jon Rahm and his future major total winning percentage going forward.
DK Nation's Collin Sherwin has joined the party as well. Rahm was impressive, my man. It's his 6th straight season with at least 1 win. His first victory of the year, too. I believe his first one since the U.S. Open last year. You're on mute, brother.
Oh.
It's okay.
No, it's not.
There
now
it is.
Better.
There it is.
You ever do that? You ever have to like upload that new like push software that they send you immediately when you don't need to? So that's just what happened to me.
Okay.
Jon Rahm, I thought he played really well. If he needed to win by 2 more shots, I think he could have. It was just sort of like in a spot where he just did enough to get it done in Mexico. I think that I saw some minus 150 out there after the 3rd round for him to finish it. That seemed like a gift to me. So he playing really well. Soft field this week, new course, seems to favor his kind of game. So we were all out here hunting for long shots, but that plus 400, I think it was actually plus 400 on Monday last week for Rahm, seems like it was the way to go. So he's a guy you're definitely going to want to start looking at for Southern Hills in 2 weeks.
I mean, the relief and satisfaction was so evident when he tapped in for par there in the final hole, like, pumping his arm, like pounding his fist and just looking up at the sky and just exhaling. So this week here, guys, odds just released on the DK Sportsbook. Another week with like a really heavy favorite in the field. And Geoff, that's Rory McIlroy. He's plus 750 to win the Wells Fargo Championship. Is this a week now that you do look at possibly betting the heavy favorite in the field?
So, I mean, we could easily get to what we call board sweeps in a row, where the favorite just comes in and wipes it out. It shouldn't shock you if Rory does, a similar thing to Jon Rahm as last week. And Rory has kind of favored these slightly I wouldn't even say shorter because TPC Potomac isn't that short, but he's kind of favored these like par 70 setups lately. At the same time, everyone's going to go back, and Rory was second at the Masters last time out. It wasn't like a dominant second place. Like he needed to chip in at the last hole and have that miraculous sand save. So I would say that fading Rory here is still fine. I feel more confident. We also have a slightly deeper field at the top, at least in my opinion. You've got guys like Henley, Fitzpatrick now in the mix, just players who I think are going to be more capable to stepping up and at a good venue for them. So Rory at plus 750, I think he's going to get a lot of action this week because people are going to say, well, it's going to happen again. Like the best player in the field is just going to wipe everyone out. But I see this field as being different. And most importantly, I see the setup as being more advantageous to like someone down in the odds winning.
And Collin, it's important too to remind people, while Rory is the defending champ, like this is a new venue. It's no longer Quail Hollow. It's up at TPC Potomac.
Yeah, a new venue, definitely a factor here. Until we get some data on these courses, sometimes it's a little tough to tell. But I like Rory a lot more at plus 800 than I did Rahm last week at plus 400. So I think there's definitely a little bit of value here. But the thing I like more with Rory is he tends to go really low. So the low round of the day, if you just bet that 4 times, it's very possible that Rory's going to come home with at least one of them. He's a little up and down, but like you said, he set the low round at the Masters this year, that chip in on 18 for 64, when the best round total was 64.5, and he ended up getting everybody who had the under home. He does play well this week, I think. Still one of the best players in the world. Shot 3 rounds of 73 at TPC, went 66 on the last day, went 64 on the last day of the Masters. So his ability to go super low, I think, is probably a little bit of the better bet. So, it's very possible he just fires a round much better than everybody else this week.
I mean, he's
plus 1,200 for wire-to-wire winner too. So
yeah, I like that as well.
That's kind of interesting as well with Rory.
Yeah, I mean, he's played well this season too, Geoff. Like a victory at the CJ Cup, that was at the Summit in October, and 3 top 10s and 6 tour starts. Anyone else, when you're looking either at the odds, Geoff, or before coming into this, you knew someone in the field who piques your interest?
So again, like at Potomac, I mean, TPC Potomac, we've seen it a couple times. It used to host the old Quicken Loans Championship that had like a 2-year run. Francesco Molinari won the last iteration of that event, and he absolutely just went nuts that week with his iron play. And if you look at the top 5 players there, they weren't big hitters, but man, did they just smash the ball like tee to green, approach, all gaining like over 5 strokes on approach. And I think you kind of need to look at similar players. Gary Woodland is a player I know a lot of people have been chasing, people were interested in last week, but a plus 3,500, that is a player in Woodland who can absolutely just dominate, with his iron play. And at a tougher course, I kind of like it for Woodland. I don't really want to trust his putter to get me to like 22 under or whatever. But if this is going to play at like a minus 15, minus 14 winner, I think Woodland is a player who can hit a ton of greens, can kind of just hit a ton of fairways because he doesn't have to take driver off every tee. And a plus 3,500, I like those odds. I believe he was closer to like plus 2,200 last week. So I think sticking on Gary Woodland here for one more week, who's looked really close, makes a ton of sense.
Okay. I'm seeing Tyrell Hatton there, too. Leads the tour in shots gained putting. What do you think, Collin?
Yeah. So Hatton is a guy that I definitely looked at this week as well. But Tony Finau fired a 63 on a Sunday. Finally, the guy who always falls apart at the end of a tournament put one together. So he hasn't won since 2016, and that's definitely an issue. But he's definitely starting to find his form. I think he's a guy that at plus 2,500 you can take a look at this week. But the guy I'm really going to be focused on, Keegan Bradley. Back-to-back top 10s at Texas and at New Orleans. Was 5th at TPC this year. Missed the cut here in Tampa. Didn't play real well with the Valspar, but there's a lot of parties around here for that event. He might have been out a little bit late. I don't know, but he's plus 2,800 this week. I think he's kind of in form. I think Keegan Bradley looks good. I'm a little worried about Woodland for one reason, and that is, first of all, he missed like 4 out of 5 cuts to open the season, but since then he's gone T21, T8, missed the cut at Augusta. And it's only T24 last week against a pretty soft field in Mexico. He's definitely at the game. When he does put it together, he's going to put it together quickly and get ahead. But if you're trying to get ahead of a guy who could start to really like stack it on pretty early here, I'm going to be on Keegan Bradley this week, who's also already won a major. And I think that once you've won a major, I feel like once you put it together, it's a little bit easier to just sort of like stack wins on top of each other.
Collin, it's unfortunate Reed's not here because he would remind you that Tony Finau won the Northern Trust just last August. All right? That's important. Listen, that's Reed's guy, man. That's his Lord and Savior there. And
but making Finau jokes is, I've made more money betting against Finau on Sunday than anything else in the history of golf. So
yeah. And let's not forget who Geoff Ulrich has lost the most money on betting on. Sorry, Geoff. We know that. Okay, let's get to the last one here. Tiger Woods seen playing around at Southern Hills last week. Everyone's fired up. The juices are flowing because the PGA Championship is just in 2 weeks. Plus 4,000 to win this event. How are we feeling about his chances and his odds right now, Ulrich?
It's so great to have Tiger back in the game. It's great that he's going to be in the field. It's just no. I mean, he hasn't played since the Masters. You got to get some competitive rounds under you, Tiger, for us to really get behind you, I think, in the betting market here. So the other thing is, when you're looking at the major championship setup, where is Tiger going to compete later in his career? I know Phil won the PGA Championship last year, but it was kind of at a really quirky setup at Kiawah Island. I don't think this is going to be anything. It's going to play tougher, longer rough. It's just not really what we want to target with Tiger. Wait till the Open. at St. Andrews. Wait till he gets a few more competitive rounds under his belt, and wait till he gets to a venue where he's not trampling through rough. He knows how to play. He can play those old, like, veteran crafty shot maker shots. I'm still interested in Tiger at the Open. I'm not interested in him at the PGA Championship. I'm just going to sit back and watch, be happy he's playing.
Yeah, speaking of the guy you've lost the most money betting on, Louis Oosthuizen has the same odds as Tiger there for the PGA
exactly.
Championship.
I mean, and the fact Tiger is still at par with Louis, I mean, you just can't bet Tiger. So.
Okay. Collin, how do you feel about Tiger's odds here? I believe they were around the same neck of the woods, I think, to start the Masters, too.
They were. Friends don't let friends bet on Tiger Woods. Like, this is just a terrible decision. Like, look, it's great Tiger's back. It's good for the game. It's good for the ratings. It's good for the prize purses. It's good for everything else. But it's not good to bet on. In fact, if anything, this is just going to add some equity to the prize pool that you should be taking down in other places. Run screaming from this. Geoff's theory on St. Andrews, that's a course where so many different guys who are not necessarily competitive week to week will have a chance. Sure. I mean, if you're going to take a shot, double greens, why not? Weird setup, road hole, whatever you got to do. Like, that's fine. But this is not, with the distance that the PGA Tour is, with the rough, with everything else. This is not it, Chief. Just run screaming. No. In fact, if you can get a no somewhere and lay like 100 to 1 on no, just take 1% of your net worth and increase it. Like, this is not happening.
Yeah, Ulrich, he's plus 4,000 at St. Andrews right now. You feel more comfortable betting that.
I mean, look, again, I don't think you need to bet Tiger Woods in the majors this year. But if you're saying where should you do it right now today, it's the Open or nothing. I mean, he's got the experience there. Again, as Collin laid out. Look, Zach Johnson, Mark Leishman, and Usti got in a 3-man playoff like at the last time we had the Open at St. Andrews. So anything can happen there. It's not. I don't even think that plus 4,000 is necessarily a great bet, but he's live. He's much more live at St. Andrews as he's going to be in a few weeks at Southern Hills. There's no doubt about that.